So just as a reminder, we're here for the question and answer for Camp Minsi, and we are recording this presentation. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Living the dream.
Very good. All
Doing
right,
good.
I'm gonna share what I think is one of the more important things for you to know right now. And that is check-in procedures, because I've changed it up a little bit. But I think some of you have been to camp before will be familiar with the old way it was done, and it's a little more like that. Okay, here we go. So a few things. One, I have before you come to camp, and I am going to post this on our website, and I'm going to show you where to find it in a moment. Before you come to camp, there is an online dietary needs form for any special food needs, whether they be an allergy or an intolerance or religious need. Just fill out that form ahead of time as soon as you can, actually. And that gives the camp staff time to make sure they have ordered in food to make sure you're fed well and they can enjoy your week here at camp. We just had our first meal with them as a staff, and we enjoyed it very much. If you can, please, before you come up to camp, give a call over to Bonnie or email and just double check to make sure that your camp fees are settled up. It's easier to do that through the office and not through us at camp. We can help you at camp, but it's definitely faster with Bonnie. And then as a reminder, you can select your merit badges and any afternoon adventures online. One change, we cannot easily take additional people for the afternoon adventures when you get to camp. So we want you to register ahead of time, and you can pay Bonnie ahead of time. And then we're going to close the afternoon adventure account the Wednesday before our week at camp, so I can get final numbers in. That was a request from the places that we contract with to provide our afternoon adventures, is they would like to know the numbers ahead of time and not last minute. So we can't easily take sign up that morning or while you're at camp. Now, when you come to check in, you need a completed health form for every scout and adult with the doctor's signature on it within the last 12 months. If you have a scout participating in Cowboy Action Shoot or the afternoon adventures, there are permission slips which were attached to an email that I sent to all of our units, which is how you learned that we're having a meeting here. So if you cannot find those, just let me know. I am going to also post those on the website as well. There is a form in the leader's guide that you can use to pay for troop pictures if you'd like to get those. And you should have your scouts ready for pictures and a swim test. So if you're getting pictures taken, usually troops want them in their uniform. And it's usually easier if you're taking a swim check right after to have your swimsuit underneath. If you do uniforms and then expect to go back and change, then sometimes that ends up as a delay. And if you're not first thing check in the day, then you could run kind of late for the day and have troubles getting to dinner. I have admitted a few more people, so I'm just giving a reminder that the meeting is being recorded. So on check-in day, one big new addition is that from 9 until noon, you may drive to your campsites carefully to unload. So you can have multiple cars driving to your campsite if you do so carefully. We're going to give everyone a chance to show that they can be responsible and drive to camp and unload their gear and not block roadways and not get out of hand. The idea is that you would go to your campsite, unload quickly, and then get your car back to the parking lot. And that way everyone can have a chance to unload if they want early in the morning and not have to worry about being under car restrictions and other things. And we can spread out the number of people bringing stuff into their campsites over the course of a longer period of time. So just make sure you don't block roadways and entranceways and follow the traffic signs. So if you are on the outer loop, the tricky part is it is a one-way road coming back at you. So if you follow the service road into camp and go to the trading post and make a left, you'll be on the outer circle road going in the correct direction. And that will take you to the campsites on the outer loop. I know a number of you are familiar with that already, but case you're not, that's the way to go in camp. And if you have questions, there are signs up, and there will be a handful of staff around, but not a lot that early in the morning. Most of our staff comes in just before noon. So our regular arrival is from noon to 1. That will be when it starts. So we're going to have you move cars back out of the parking lot by the ad pad. Don't keep your cars in there if you're doing early arrival. We'll close the gate sometime between noon and 1. I'm admitting a few additional people, so I'm just reminding you that we're recording this meeting.
Hi, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm confused. So you can come early so you can drive your car up there?
Yes. So, for example, let's say your troop doesn't have a truck or some vehicle to load a lot of stuff in, and you would have to take a lot of loads back and forth. If you have some parents who want to come up early and drop the stuff right at the campsite, they can do that in that early arrival.
So if I have 2 cars coming, I can go and drop stuff off between 9 and noon.
Yes.
And then official check-in is between noon and 1.
Well, noon to 1 is when we're going to be shutting down the gate. I may clarify this a little bit. You guys are the first ones I'm talking to about this. So 1 o'clock starts the official check-ins, but starting around noon or just after, we're going to close the gate, and then you're going to have to only have 1 car in at a time.
So before noon, you can bring both your 2 cars.
Yep, you can bring in multiple cars.
And then
it's
you're
great.
allowed to leave one at the site all week?
Yeah, so be able to leave 1 vehicle, which would be a trailer or a car.
And then
Sounds silly, but what is that, a trailer hitched to a car or a trailer or a car?
If it is a small trailer and it's hitched to a car, that would probably be fine. If it's a good sized troop trailer, then just the trailer, please.
I know you were saying about the photos and wearing your swimsuit under, but will you know what time your swim test is? Like what time your photo is, what time your swim test is?
Actually, we'll get into that to a moment, although you don't have one key piece of information that's coming out in the next 24 hours. So let me go through the rest of this document, and then I'll help you guys out with those questions.
Okay.
So during the week, so from noon to 1, at some point during that time, we're going to lock the gate, and then we'll have 2 colored pieces of paper. One says you're the vehicle that's staying in campsite for the week, and the other one is that you're dropping off. So if you have one of those colored paper, you can get past the gate. For example, like let's say your troop is coming in at 2 o'clock and they're going to drop their stuff off. If you could load everything into one big vehicle and bring it through, then they could just go through with that permit and get through. If you don't have a big vehicle, then you'd want to unload one vehicle and then bring that permit back out quickly to give to the next vehicle. Because a lot of cars are moving at that time and troops are moving at that time. We limit the number of traffic from 1 o'clock on.
So for small troops who will be sharing campsites, how's that going to work? It'd be quite different than a large troop occupying one campsite with one vehicle or trailer.
Yeah, it's going to be 1 permit per site assignment. So for example, if you're a big troop or a smaller troop, it's going to be 1 vehicle at that time.
So just to be clear though, if and I haven't been to Camp Minsi before, I've been to a few other camps where sometimes we've been the only troop in that site, and sometimes we've shared a site with another troop or 2 troops, depending upon the numbers and the site size. So my question simply is, our small troop does have a trailer we intend to bring. If we're sharing a campsite with 2 other troops, what do we do about the trailers?
You'll have, if there's a campsite that's typically split, you should have room for the trailer for each unit.
Perfect, thank you. Yep, thanks.
Yep. So I'm moving on to, at the campsite, when you get there, there's going to be a medical box, which is a toolbox on your picnic table. And it'll have copies of the schedules, the buddy tags, other important information. That way, if you come in during early arrival, you can start looking over all your paperwork and getting anything settled that you need to. There will be the drug administration forms, which are also in the leader's guide. And for every person who's taking medication while they're in camp, you should fill one of those out and keep it locked in that box with the medication. And then we're asking this year that you fill out a buddy tag for everyone in your unit who's staying in camp. And we'll have directions in with the buddy tags in that lockbox.
So quick question again, if you're sharing a site with other troops, you're going to have multiple med boxes so we can keep the
Yeah,
troop
you'd have one
information
per
separate?
unit. One
Perfect,
per
thank you.
unit you'd have.
Perfect, thank
Yep, and it'll be labeled with your unit, so you know which one is yours.
What's a buddy tag?
A buddy tag is a little disc of paper that's used at aquatics to show whether you're in the water or out of the water.
Okay.
So when you go to aquatics, you'll take your buddy tags off of the buddy board and you'll take it over to the in aquatics buddy board and it'll hang what you're doing there so that when they take attendance, they know exactly how many people are in the water and how many people are on boats at any given time. Which is one of the main reasons why I love having my kids swim with scouts and I don't like having my kids swim at public pools or big places like that because those lifeguards don't know who's in the water. And in scouts, they always have a good count. So I'm going to ask, this check-in times comes by campsite. So what I'm going to do is I'm emailing people. I need to know if there's any special requests for the campsite. And by special requests, I'm saying if there is someone who has a CPAP machine that needs assistance, I have some units with kids with wheelchairs, then I just need to know those ahead of time because I'd rather assign the correct campsite that has the facilities you need than assign a campsite and need to change it later. So, I mean, many of you put in just a preference for campsite to Bonnie. I'll try to honor those as best I can. But for example, there's only a couple sites where I can possibly be able to connect a CPAP machine that doesn't run on a battery. And there is one primary campsite that's best for wheelchairs.
When you
So-
registered, picked your campsite, is that a guarantee that you got it?
No,
So how will
no, the
you,
final campsite assignments will be coming out shortly. I'm just gonna give Mohican as the example. Like, for example, if your unit picked Mohican and then someone needs the wheelchair accessible campsite, that's got the wheelchair accessible platforms. So obviously, whenever we can, we'll follow your preference, but we do have to sometimes shift around.
I don't think our units ever knew we were supposed to pick a campsite.
The vast majority of people do not.
Okay. So just email Bonnie if we've got somebody who needs a CPAP.
Actually, if you could email Camp Minsi at mincytrails.org,
Okay,
that would be the best because that'll go right to me. I'm gonna put that right in the chat. And if you email that email address, it actually sends a copy to Bonnie and it sends a copy to Brian Duncan, our director of camping. And that way everyone has a copy.
thank you.
Yes. So you will have a site guide who will come to your campsite. They'll keep checking to see when you're there. And they will be able to go over your campsite with you, double check to make sure there's no problems, fix as many problems on the spot as they can. And they're going to be your guide through all of check-in. They can help you with your paperwork, anything like that. I am going to come around and I'm going to go to the campsites in about this order and about this time. And I'm going to double check with another person all your health forms. And I'm going to double check any paperwork that you need to submit. Now, let's say, for example, you're coming from Delaware and you happen to be in site 12 and that's 1 o'clock. And there's no way you're going to be able to get there at 1 o'clock. If you get a chance, you can email us just to let us know that you're going to be coming in a little later. But if I come at 1 o'clock to site 12 and you're not ready, then I will continue on. And then when I get a chance, I'll circle back and see when you're ready. And then when you're ready, we'll get you going. Your site guide will be there. So they can also help you as you come in, and they'll make sure that you're able to stay on track for getting through check-in.
So I'm assuming the check-in time is when we would first come on site, and then everything else would happen after that. So if we were checking in at 2:50, for example, we couldn't go for swim checks at 1 o'clock. We have to wait until 2:50 and then go through the process after that.
Right. So anytime before that check-in time, you can be setting up your campsite. You can be, setting up your tents. You can do activities in your campsite as a unit. The idea is that instead of coming to one big line and you potentially having to wait in line at the health lodge or something like that, that by me going to you instead of sitting somewhere waiting, then you can continue to work on your campsite until we're ready for you.
So if we can't come in early and we turn up between 12 and 1 and whatever the magic time is, you close the gate, give the passes out. No matter what time our visual check-in time is, we can be actually at the site getting things set up, ready to go, and just sit there and wait.
Yep, anytime 9 o'clock on, you can be at your campsite and be setting up anything you'd like. Yeah, that
Thank you.
restriction is really just on the cars because starting at 1 o'clock, once units are coming in and checking in, then you have lots of kids walking on the roads and people anxious to get to their campsites. We just want to make sure that it's safe for everyone. So that's why there's the car restriction.
Will you be having a bike restriction until after you have the facility closed off the vehicles on the day, or how is that going to work?
No, I mean, we do occasionally have vehicles throughout camp. I would not recommend Sunday as a great day for biking. I would probably tell all my units to all my kids to keep their bikes in camp until check-in is done. That's a good thing, though. I think I might just make that a very strong suggestion, if nothing else. Just because of the number of cars coming in.
Would make sense to me to not ride bikes until Monday morning.
Yeah, I agree. So if you take a look at I admitted a few more people, so I'm just going to give a reminder that we're recording. During check-in, for the most part, we'll just be looking through your paperwork. If you have medications or we have questions, then I might have a few questions. Once you've passed the medical check, you are going to get a colored bracelet, and that will show that you've been checked in. I did get a question in chat about when you'll know your campsite assignments. They are going to start hitting the website in the next 24 hours or so. You'll see week 1 will come up, and then they'll keep filling in there. So make sure if you have some special need for campsites, you let me know as soon as you can, so I can make sure that you get the campsite that you need. After you finish your medical checks, your unit will go to the dining hall, where you'll be able to get the dining hall rules and procedures, get an orientation of the dining hall. After that, you will most likely get your camp pictures, if your unit is getting a picture taken. If there is a line at camp pictures, they might do dining hall first. If there's a line at the dining hall, they might do pictures first. So those two are sometimes interchangeable. Then you'll go right from there to swim checks. There'll be a short walk down to the waterfront. If you have scouts who have already taken their swim check, you can turn the roster right into our waterfront director at that time. If all of your unit has already done a pre-swim check, then you could just have someone walk down, maybe a senior patrol leader and a buddy, walk down to waterfront and turn in the roster. Actually, I think probably you should all go down there just to see where it is and get your roster turned in. You'll be identified as a non-swimmer, beginner, or swimmer. The swim test is the same everywhere across the country. So if you Google BSA swim check, you'll be able to see that we are all the same. And do not color your tags for us. The lifeguards will color your tags. And then if you look, here's the evening schedule. Once you've finished check-in, then you are free to enjoy your campsite until 5:45. We'll have colors at the parade field, where we'd like you to wear BSA field uniforms. 6 o'clock, we'll have dinner just after colors. During 7 o'clock, we'll have some time where you can ask questions again. So your scoutmaster, whoever's in charge of your unit for the week, is an adult, and your senior patroller can come and ask questions. The rest of your unit can go on a camp tour with their site guide and see where all the program areas and all the merit badges are being offered. And then at 8:45 that evening, we will meet at the parade field for our opening campfire. If you'll notice on the bottom, I have a Remind class set up. So Remind is a texting service where if there's, for example, if there's a thunderstorm coming, I can send out an alert and let you know what you need to do based on the weather. Also, one note is it's set up for two-way texting. So for example, once you set up for the week, if your latrine is running out of supplies, you could just send us a message and we can deliver. So that way you have two-way communication with the staff, and the staff can easily alert you if there's any kind of schedule changes or any kind of emergencies during the week.
Are you gonna send this paper out?
I am. I'm going to email it out to you, and I'm also going to post it on the website. I just wanted to review it with you guys so I could see if there's anything else I wanted to add.
I have a question. Do you have like a leaders lounge that has Wi-Fi?
So in our dining hall, we have what's called Leaders Rock, where there's some wheelchairs, or not wheelchairs, rocking chairs. And that has a spot, and that has Wi-Fi access. Any other questions on check-in? All right, I'm just gonna ask that could you guys verify that when I clicked to change it, it switched to the Camp Minsi website?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Excellent.
those-
Okay. I just wanted to highlight a few things on the website. There is a lot of information on here, obviously, but the most important one is all the way to the right here. Under camp resources is camp documents. And I have, as I add forms and I change them, then I put an updated date. And those updated dates are important because you can see how recently it changed. So for example, the Leaguer's Guide, the original version came out in March. There's been a handful of very small changes. So you can see anytime it changes, you'll see the date. If you look down here at the merit badge scheduling worksheet and the prerequisites guide, there was one prerequisite, I think, for citizenship in the nation that we saw an error in, and that was corrected. So just double check to make sure all the prerequisites are there. We have the Trail to Adventure guide if you have scouts participating in the first year camper program, and the Camp Minsi menu. All right, one quick note on the remind is that I'm set up for week 1 right now. So if you're in week 1, you can join. If you are later in the summer, every Saturday I reset the class, and then your class, you'd be cleaned out before. If you're coming week 3 and you sign up now, then you will end up getting kicked out of the class every Saturday until then. So you can sign up that morning of check-in. And then menu. Common request is asking about the menu. Here's some maps. And then if you look down here, super important, Camp Minsi food allergy and special dietary need form. We would like to make sure that everyone gets to eat while they're here at camp. And we have a staff member for our kitchen service that is just in charge of making sure people with special diets are fed appropriately. So just make sure you fill that out ahead of time. It is just a Google form. Super easy. You can always send the link to someone if you know someone in your troop needs to fill it out. You want them to fill it out. That is great. The sooner the better on that.
I
So
do have a
that's-
question around that.
Yeah, I have a question too.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So if it's already filled out, then like, does that parent have to go to the kitchen or anything? Like, what are the next steps? Or they're just approved or?
So if you filled out that form, then just during the dining hall orientation, they can check in to make sure that the dining hall staff knows, which person you are.
Okay.
But there's nothing additional you need to do. If there's problems with your allergy, or if they have questions, then they'll contact you.
And they can store their food and like cook the food, right?
Yeah, we can do some, just if you think it's going to be something different other than them ordering special food and cooking,
It is.
send an email to campminsi@minsitrails.org, and I'll forward that email right to our kitchen director, and that way I'll have them reach out.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Mi-
So I have a scout that's severely allergic to dairy.
Mhm.
Can't contain any protein, anything. Last summer camp, the parents set him with replacement meals for everything, and they had a section with a refrigerator, a microwave, where he could prepare his food for every single meal. Would that be the case here? I mean, we could fill out the form, but I don't know that you'll be able to accommodate his needs.
Right.
That's the
So-
same with my scout too. He's
Yeah.
highly allergic.
And the parents
and
are
it-
more than willing to send the food.
In
I-
a case like that, I would just send me the email because I'd rather have you connect directly to them and talk it over directly with them. Just
Okay.
because allergies are so different from person to person.
And
I
what's
think-
the email again?
It is Camp Minsi at mincytrails.org. And it is in the chat there.
Oh, cool. Okay, great.
I had food allergies as a child and had a time when they were really bad and I had severe allergies. So
This is go direct to hospital.
yeah, no, I've ridden an ambulance a couple times for food allergies.
Oof.
So and
Wait.
I have other food allergies in my family. So it's an important issue to me. And I think I just would rather, if I have a child with a severe allergy where it's something, real vital, then I just think it's super important to come to talk to the person directly who's going to be actually managing that food.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
that's the only reason I'm asking you to email, and I'll make sure that they know to give you a call. They are great. I just would rather you talk directly to that person rather than make me a middleman because I don't want to lose anything in translation.
Yep.
I have a good question. Scouts physical is June of 22 and expires at the end of the month. For week 1 that ends on 7/1, they'll have about a few hours where their health form would not typically be valid. So I think we can let that one go because they are good through the end of the month in which they were issued 1 year from there. So for example, if you had this is a common question. So if you had a physical on June 1st of 2022, it is good through June 30th, and that will be good for week 1 there.
Speaking of the food allergies and things like that, just out of curiosity, what is the nearest hospital or urgent care to the camp?
So we have an urgent care. It is, if you time the lights right, it's probably about 4 minutes.
Okay.
But if you get stuck at both traffic lights, it could be 10 minutes to an urgent care. Hospital will be, you driving is about 15-20 minutes to St. Luke's.
St. Luke's. Okay.
By ambulance, it could be quicker. Our ambulance station is very close to us.
I've had one boy who gets swimmer's ear, bad swimmer's ear every year, so I'm preparing.
Yeah, I have one of those myself at home. One child who takes swim lessons and often gets swimmer's ear.
Thank you.
What other questions do you guys have?
I missed the April 4th meeting. I was listening to it earlier. So the muck hike thing, is that on site or do you have to go somewhere?
So the muck hike is on site. We have a set of wetlands that has a hiking trail that goes right through the muck. They will get very mucky. I mean, I think you could probably do it and not get terribly mucky, but that's not why you go on the muck hike.
Right.
So I would just bring a set of clothes that you don't plan on seeing again, including the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've seen kids duct tape shoes to the pants just to make sure they didn't lose them.
Yes.
Do you have to sign up for that now?
No, the muck hike you can just simply participate in.
Okay.
So the big signups ahead of time are the afternoon adventures.
Yeah.
Because
that's
those involve a
okay.
bus ride and a waiver and everything else. Go ahead.
Whatever you missed that afternoon for the merit badge, and it sounds like you can make up on Friday.
Yeah, so we have usually the merit badges all have some extra time built in,
Okay.
just because there is a lot of activities the kids are often involved in. So at the end of the week, they can help you finish up things that you might have missed.
If scouts are doing, say, the whitewater rafting, are they able to do another afternoon adventure and merit badges, or is it just one a week?
No, the vast majority of scouts should be able to miss 2 and still be able to make it up.
Okay, and for the whatever is it called, Western shooting thing, is that just for kids who are participating in shooting sports, or can anybody do that?
So cowboy action, you have to be venturing age. So
Right.
either have completed 8th grade and be 13 or be 14.
Okay, but if
Because
they're
it
not
involves,
taking a shooting
there is a
sport,
pistol involved.
right,
Go
no, I
ahead.
understand that. But if they aren't taking a shooting sport and they meet the age requirements, they can do that even if they're not taking a shooting sport, or?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Now, if you are, for example, just plan a little bit as you're going with your merit badges. If you have a child who wants to do the whitewater and, actually the whitewater and muck hike are usually the same day, except for week 2. If they're planning a couple different afternoon adventures and also want to do big cowboy action, once you find yourself missing all 4 days, then you
Yeah.
might want to consider leaving that open for merit badges, not taking merit badges in that.
Okay,
So the muck hike, I do not believe the mileage is very long, but I'm gonna write that down to see if I can get you the mileage. But 10-year-old crossover should be able to handle it as long as they don't have an issue with mud and muck. But I've seen a lot of 10-year-olds complete the muck hike. Was a question in chat.
So 2 things. For muck hike stuff, we normally tell our scouts to go to Goodwill, get something, put it in a bag, you throw it away. And
Yeah.
secondly, for the inevitable partials, how do you handle those? Do you tell us, do you do those back with local council? We're out of council, so with our local council, merit badge councillors, do you try and finish them off through councillors there? How do you want to approach that?
So 2 main approaches there. You'll have a blue card, obviously the partial, and if you think there's an error, then we try to correct those Friday night. Then if you are early in the summer and there is something small that they need to do, and you can get a hold of us and get it back to us, with that blue card, we can probably fix it right there during the summer. If it's after camp goes out, then they'll have to find their own counselor back home and work on that.
We have to bring the blue cards with us. It's not online.
You can print them actually from online.
Okay.
I have a question in chat. There is not a permission slip for the rock climbing adventure. There is not currently a permission slip for the rock climbing adventure. I am going to do one more double check on that. But last I was told was no. For the most part, the permission slips are actually a waiver for the people that are providing the program. And that rock climbing adventure is actually provided at another scout camp. They're following all the scout rules. The troop photo form gets turned in directly to the photographer on Sunday during check-in.
We can pay by check then?
Yeah, you can pay directly to them by check.
Do they take any other forms of payment, cash or credit card or?
I think they take cash. I do not believe they take credit card. But
Can you ever take Venmo or Zelle?
Oh, okay.
Because that's super easy.
No, do they take Venmo or Zelle? I think that's.
Oh, I'm gonna email them and double check because I haven't been asked that yet.
Actually,
Because that makes payment super clean, super easy.
Yeah, last year we paid at the trading post. I'm not sure if that's an option.
Okay, I'll contact the photographer and I'm gonna be sending out some more information to you guys before camp. So I'll just double check that.
If a scout is signed up for the Treetop Adventures on Tuesday, will they still be able to do the Western shooting, or are those at the same time?
No, they're the same time.
Okay.
So I have a question in chat. Scouts did not need leadership for the afternoon adventure. Should we plan on sending someone if we have scouts participating? So many of our units choose to send an adult with them, and that is helpful for us. We're trying to make sure we have enough adults to help cover. We have a staff member going, but we would love to have extra adults. If they're participating actually in the afternoon adventure, then they would also need to register up and pay prior to the deadline. So we make sure we have them a ticket. For the rock climbing, they could easily just watch, and we would have space on the bus for them. Most of the activities, it's difficult to watch from afar. Possibly the horses you could maybe watch.
We're a small female troop. We'll have female coverage in camp while we're there, but I'm assuming you'll have the appropriate leadership throughout camp as our scouts stood up.
That is our goal. If we have an issue and we're looking for someone to help, we'll let you guys know in the beginning of the week.
Okay.
Other camps, do you do T-shirts or just the photo?
So we just have the photos. We don't have a pre-order T-shirt. We do have T-shirts for sale on the trading post, but they're not customized with troop name or anything like that.
Okay. When you guys are doing the campsites, I mean, I have 7 kids coming, but it's 1 female adult, 1 male adult. You'll have enough like tents for us so that we can be appropriately split up.
Yeah, we'll plan on leaving a little bit of a buffer for cases like that. But if you think it might be an issue, it's always good to send us an email.
We're in the same situation, almost identical numbers.
Yeah. Our campsites are usually big enough that with a unit that exact size really doesn't, it shouldn't be an issue.
And the sites don't have electric, right?
The sites do not have electric.
I have a question. Why, I've never been to a camp where you cook one night. Like, just out of curiosity, why?
Okay, that's been a popular option at our camp that people seem to like having a cook in their site night. All 3 of our council camps used to all have that. Now for our Cub Scout resident camp, it's only the Webelos. But it's just been a long-standing tradition. It is, I believe, tacos that night. They'll prepare everything for you to take back to your site and cook.
I saw it was tacos. Are we getting like the raw meat or is it like pre-cooked?
I believe it's going to be coming out to you as raw meat.
Okay.
We've done in the past for our council, we've done pre-cooked meat for Cubs and Webelos if they're doing a cook in their site, and ready to prepare raw meat for the older scouts. I got a couple questions in chat. Are there any aquatic areas open to non-swimmers other than frigid froggies? Can they canoe across the lake with a swimmer adult? For the boats, you'd have to have a swimmer in the boat. I think, I will have to double check. I think in canoes, it might have to be all swimmers, but rowboats, you should be good if you have a swimmer adult in there. I'll double check that with Tommy. He is our aquatics director.
And I'm assuming if adult leaders have to share a tent, they'll be same gender adults,
Yes.
not mixed gender.
Correct. And in most cases, I don't know that they will have to. And the tents are canvas platform tents with 2 cots, and they have a metal interior frame. They don't have the outriggers and the wood and poles and ropes. I am just going to go over a couple other questions that I was asked. Just to verify again with everyone, that the menu is in that spot that I showed you on the website. So if you'd like to look, you can definitely look. If you are cooking in your site on Thursday, you should bring materials to cook with: pots, pans, stoves. We answered that one and that one. I'm going to go on to the next set of questions that was asked. With fishing licenses, you don't need a fishing license if you are under 16. Once you're 16, you should bring a fishing license to camp with you. In Pennsylvania, you do not have to wear a fishing license, but you should have either access to a paper or on your phone if you are 16 and up. And if you are from out of state, you can get a 1, 2, or 3 day license just to make it a little cheaper than getting a full year if you're just coming to visit us. And if you have any questions specifically about prerequisites, if you email that email address, I'll connect you right to the director of that area to make sure that they give you an accurate answer. So just checking, does anyone else have any other questions?
I'm sure I will right after we finish the meeting, but I'm assuming we can just email you with questions.
Yeah, email us at cammincy@mincytrails.org.
This was great. Thank you.
You're welcome. I have another double check just to see if you can leave the trailer directly at your site. So I'll give you a permit for one trailer or car. So one or the other.
If you want to, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
if you prefer to have your own tent versus the platform tent, is there room to bring your own tent to set up?
So there is some room. The camp itself, the ground is rather rocky, so just be prepared for that. I would kind of recommend that if you want help folding up one of the tents, have your site guide help. And you can store that in one of the other tents, and then you could set up your tent on one of the platforms. They are 9 foot by 7 foot. If you want to double
Okay,
check to
thank
make
you.
sure you're, what'd you say?
Thank you. That's
welcome.
all we need to know.
Yeah, 9 foot by 7 foot. BSA regulations require every scout be provided with 30 square feet of living space, and you get an extra 3 square feet per tent for 2 people.
Woohoo.
I have a quick question. I had a new scout join us yesterday and I was able to get on and register. But now we have a balance. Can I pay that when we get there? We're coming to week 1. Do I need to
Yeah,
try to?
especially week 1, you can pay that when you get there, or if you want to just call Bonnie and let her know, you could mail a check even, or
Okay, that's that. I just wanted to make sure I was able to register. So I thought we're good, but I just wanted to check. Thank you.
yep. And you don't have to email ahead to get a permit for the trailer. I'm going to give you one per site. Just you can automatically have one vehicle per site. I have a question of if hammocks are allowed, and they definitely are allowed. Obviously, just choose carefully where you put it because you don't want to be over top of something spiky. Or I slept last year. I went with my troop to another summer camp, and I slept in a hammock the whole week.
What type of wildlife do you guys see in your camp?
So we have a lot of different wildlife, including bears, which is partially why we like you to keep one vehicle or keep someplace to keep the food out of the tents. If you keep food out of your tents and you help make sure that your garbage does not collect in your site, then you greatly reduce the chance of having a bear. If you leave a lot of food out, or leave a lot of garbage out, then you could get a visitor. We also have quite a lot of deer, and a large number of other animals. So in a moment, I'm going to stop recording. And that way, if you have questions, you don't want to be recorded, that's fine. I'm going to stop the recording right now.